JV8. They'll be in lane 1. Gonzaga in lane 2. PLU in lane 3, and Western Washington in lane 4. Betsy, this University of Washington JV8 has won the Cascade Cup race 7 consecutive years, and you've got to think that they'll make it number 8 this year.
Well, certainly Washington's women are going to come out here and want to win this race. They've got some of the best crews from the Northwest to challenge them, so we will see what happens out here on the race course.
And underway now in the Women's Cascade Cup, just underway. In this picture, lane 1 will be to the right of the screen, lane 4 to the left, so you can see Washington on the right of your screen, then Gonzaga, PLU, Western Washington. Betsy, as we get underway, first off, this weather a little bit overcast right now, but probably ideal for many of these competitors as opposed to the heat that we had earlier in the week.
This should be very good conditions for athletes. The temperature's just right, the water looks pretty good. They should be able to row their very best today.
How about the course itself, Dick? Is there a favored lane when you're out here?
No, the course, it's like rowing in a slot car track with all the boats in the log boom on one side, all the boats on the south side. The coxswains have a heck of a job, though, because they do have to be able to stay down the middle of the course. Too many distractions, but hey, they've all done it before, and that should not be a factor. This is an excellent race course.
It's a good race course, but I tell you, from a coxswain's point of view, I always liked lane 1, right where Washington is today. Lane 1, you know what your water is. Nobody can push you out wide. You just keep your course and go where you want to go. Washington looks like they're in very good position here as they come down the race course.
Yes, we're about 500 meters into the race already, and I give the edge to Washington at the moment. The exciting thing about these other 3 crews, they're varsity crews from Gonzaga, PLU, Western, and they row in a different division later in the year, but this gives them a real test and gives them a chance to be out here on opening day.
And going against a very good junior varsity 8 that captured 2nd at the NCAAs last year in that University of Washington boat. As we continue with this race, Betsy, let's talk a little bit about the shells that these crews are in. They've really undergone some refinements, and as we watch them race, we're really seeing the latest in technological upgrades, as it were, to the shells.
Right. These are shells made out of carbon fibers. They're very, very stiff. It's not the old wooden boats that we used to row in. They're between 55 and 60 feet long. They weigh about 220 pounds. These boats are now being built for women's specifications, and so there's a little bit less wetted surface area down below into the water. And
as they come by us now, talk a little bit about the crews.
Oh, we've got Washington looking really, really pretty in this boat race. They're rowing a real comfortable, just under 34 strokes a minute here. They'll be coming into their sprint, but they've got this race in their hip pocket right now.
I'm taking a good look at the other 3 crews here. What a marvelous improvement in the quality of their rowing over the past few years. There's going to be a 2nd place here. Looks like Gonzaga's going to do that quite easily. But for 3rd and 4th, PLU and Western has the edge. But looking back as they head, they've got 500 meters to go now as they approach the bridge. And it's certainly going to be Washington all the way. But this gives us a good chance to look at what these athletes are doing in the boat. How they're reaching out, putting that oar in the water, and pressing with their back, shoulders, and legs.
Paige Funder is the cox for this Washington Junior Varsity 8, a sophomore from Eugene. In the stroke, Teresa Nygren-Burkholtz, sophomore from Seattle. The 7 position is Kate Tiley from Garfield High in Seattle. The 6, Rachel Dunnett from West Vancouver, BC. The 5, Annie Christie from Vancouver, Washington. In the 4 seat, Kristen Crimes, a senior from Portland. Number 3, Maggie C., a sophomore from Seattle. In the 2 seat, Lindsay Horton, a sophomore from Olympia. And in the bow, Tasha Gray, a senior from Portland, and many of them with experience in the JV8s a year ago, which, as we said, finished 2nd at the NCAAs.
And look at them stroking so strongly now toward the finish line. They're in their sprint. They look good. They're setting themselves up to go back for a repeat at the Nationals again this year.
Betsy, they've almost had this race on cruise control. They're just really keeping good cadence, keeping good form throughout.
Well, you want to look good going through the Montlake Cut on opening day. You want to look good.
But I'll tell you, those young ladies are still pulling their hearts out because it's not just a win, but if they get a chance like this, it's how much can we win by? Let's get more. Let's get more.
What's it like? You talked about going into the cut and going through this area, the adrenaline and the lift that you get from this crowd, which, as you guys pointed out, is the biggest crowd for an event of its kind in the world.
This is the biggest rowing sporting event. They're going into the cut. They're hearing the fans cheer. This is their home course. They're very happy.
Before the electric microphones that the coxswains use, a Let's watch them go across the finish.
Washington for its 8th consecutive victory in the Cascade Cup as the women's junior varsity 8 goes wire to wire. Dick, go ahead and finish up what you're talking about.
Before the coxswains had the old type megaphones, we just told the crews, once they get to the cut, you cannot count on hearing the coxswain because you're on your own. It's so noisy in here.
The wall of sound, Gonzaga coming home in second, and as you mentioned, Dick, really a good performance by that program that's started literally from scratch and worked its way up at Gonzaga. So another victory for the University of Washington JV 8 in a row in the Cascade Cup. And when we return, we'll have more action from opening day in Seattle.